Hi to all. So welcome to another lesson. This is going to be a lesson for 21st of April, that's Tuesday. And yesterday's lesson was a very easy one because already we have taken these lessons. So it's just like a revision for you all because these lessons are kind of important because you, of course, those who have grades, sisters in high grades, they know still they're learning these slopes and all these things. Okay, so Okay, let's start the lesson. But before we start, I gave you some homework to be done yesterday. Hope you all are doing it. I'm not getting any kind of feedback from you girls, not at all, except the handful of few girls who are always showing the homework and messaging and asking anything which they have done. Okay, other than that, I have no idea where the others have disappeared. Anyways, my duty is to teach you. So here again you have to use the slope formula to determine the slope of each line. So this line, this the red one, the one which they have shown you, as soon as you see it is a vertical line. So as we learned yesterday, the slope of vertical lines are always undefined because they have no slope. It's something divided by zero, so nothing can be divided by zero. Okay, so but because they said use the slope formula to determine the slope, so we just write the coordinates. This is the coordinate 0 and 5 for A because it's right on the x-axis, so that's going to be 0 and y is 5, and y for the coordinate for B is 0 and 3. So let's use the formula. I am not writing the formula, okay, but because we know we have been very much familiar with this formula. So let me keep this as x1 y1 x2 y2. So the formula starts with y2, right? So 5 minus 3, okay, divided by x2 is 0 0, so 0 minus 0. 5 minus 3 is going to give you 2, right? So that equals 2, and 0 minus 0 is going to give you 0. Now this is not a logic question to be done because you cannot divide any number with 0. How 0 is nothing. How can you divide a number with nothing, right? So this means there is the slope is undefined. Okay, moving on to question number 11. That's first let's write down the coordinates. So the coordinate for this is going to be 5 and -2, and the coordinate for D is going to be 3 and -2 as well. So 3 and -2. Now this is again a horizontal slope. Now before we solve, we already know from our minds that the slope of horizontal lines are always 0. Slope of vertical ones are undefined and slopes of horizontal ones are 0. But still the instruction is use the slope formula, so let's use it. M is equal to y2. Let me take this as y2 x2, y1 x1. So y2 is -2, okay, minus, again it's a -2, y2 is y1 is also -2, so x2 y2 is -2, x2 is also -2, so negative minus -2. Okay, then again y2 is 5, sorry, x2 is 5 and y2 is, sorry, x1 is 3. Okay, so this is going to be plus minus will give you plus, so -2 plus 2 is going to give you a 0. Okay, then 5 minus 3 is going to give you 2. So 0 divided by 2 is going to give you a 0. So that's why already as soon as we see the picture, we can say 0 divided by 2 is 0. So the slope for this is going to be 0. Okay, see the difference here? It's 2 over 0. Here it's 0 over 2. 0 divided by 2. In 0 divided, 0 is nothing, but you can divide it by 2. Right? So similarly, again, this is E. So the coordinate for E is going to be 3 and 4. Always write down the coordinates so that you will not be confused. That's why I keep saying write the coordinates. Okay, then F is going to be 4 and 3. So 4 and 3. So the slope is going to be M equals y2. Let me take this as x2 y2 and that as x1 y1. So that's going to be 4 minus. Now, as soon as before I find the slope, let me tell you the slope is something which is coming down from left to downwards. So that is going to be on what kind of slope is it going to be for you? Is it going to be a negative or a positive slope? It's going to be a negative slope because it's coming from left corner to down. Okay, so 4 minus 3 divided by x2 is 3 minus x1 is 4. So 4 minus 3 is going to give you 1. And 3 minus 4 is going to give you negative 1. So 1 divided by negative 1 is going to give you a negative 1. So the slope for this question is going to be negative 1. Okay, now similarly the same arrow, it's the same line, it's from left upper corner to down, so that means it's again going to be a negative 1. So first write down coordinates. This is going to be 0, 4. Okay, and for this it's going to be 3 and negative 3, 3 and negative 3. So m is going to be equal to y2. Let me name this as y2. So 4 minus 3. You have to be very careful with the signs. 4 minus 3. Okay, divided by x2 is 0 minus 3. Fine. So minus will give you plus. So that means it is 4 plus 3, right? So 4 plus 3 is going to give you 7. And 0 minus 3 is going to give you negative 3. 0 minus 3 is negative 3. So your slope, you can leave it as this, negative 7 over 3, but I cannot put the negative sign in between here, but you can put it. So the slope, you can leave it as m is equal to negative 3 over negative 7 over 3. Okay, or if you want to like convert it into a decimal or a fraction also, you can, but better leave it like this, so that if any other question comes, we can simply come down 7 and move to the right 3, or move to the left 3 and go up 7. So leave any slope in this form, which will be easy for you. Now this is where we need to concentrate. As I told you yesterday, a pilot traveling at a constant speed flies 100 miles at 2:30 p.m. and 475 miles by 5 p.m. Graph the line. Now I told you yesterday also, don't graph the line without graphing the line. Use the formula and find out the slope of the line and say what it means. Okay, so first let's write down the coordinates. So the coordinates are 2:30. At 2:30 p.m. how much did they fly? They flew 100. Okay, and the next coordinate is going to be 5 at 475. Okay, now this is about time. Okay, you have to understand 2:30 is the time. So when you take the time in hours, like 2:30 in hours, of course it's going to be 2.5, because 30 minutes is equal to half an hour, right? So when you are taking like the coordinates, this you need to be taking as 2.5. Why are we taking it as 2.5? Because the time is 2:30. Okay, so here the time is already 5, so that doesn't matter, but because we are not graphing, okay, you have to do it this way. So what you are going to be doing is, what's the two source? Fine, whatever it is. So here I'm changing this time to 2.5, because 2:30 in hours means 2.5 hours, which is 2.5. That was the only tricky part here. So let me take this as x1, y1, this as x2 and y2. Now this one you might ask me why you didn't change this teacher. It's 5 o'clock, 5 p.m. means it's 5 hours, right? So we don't need to change that. Only we have to change it's 2.5 to 2:30, because 2:30 means it's 2.5 hours. So m is going to be equal to the slope. We're going to find the slope. So that's going to be 475 minus 100 divided by 5 minus 2.5. Okay, so 475 minus 100 is going to give you 375 over 5.5 minus 2.5 is going to give you 2.5. So if you divide 375 by 2.5, you will be getting the answer as 150. Now the slope of the line is 150. So what is the interpretation? The interpretation is that plane is flying, because they're asking, remember in yesterday's question also we did. So the plane is flying at an average, they're asking about the speed right here, average speed 150, and the units are given as miles per hour. M per hour means miles per hour. So this is the interpretation. Hope you have got the answers, but I don't know how many of you would have changed 230 into 2.5. That's what you needed to be doing. I forgot to tell you yesterday before I finished the lesson. Okay, so let's move on to today's part of the lesson. Now again, this part already you have an idea, but still, now sure you must have forgotten it. Fine. Graph each pair of lines. Use slopes to determine whether the lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Now, before I start explaining you this, remember you learned something called reciprocal. Reciprocal means the other side. Like for example, if it was 4/5 means it's going to be -5/4. Remember something like this? Okay, let's see. AB, this is line AB, and line CD for A is 2, 1, B is 1, 1, 5, C is 4, 2, and D is 5, 2. So we have to graph these points. So first graph A, that's 2, 1 here, and then B, which is 1, 5. So join those 2 points to make a line. Next is C is 4, 2, and D is 5, 2, 5 and -2. So 5 and -2 is here. Join those 2 points to make line CD. This C here, this specified as AB and CD. Fine. So the slope of the lines. Now you already have the coordinates given. You just have to draw the lines. That's all. Now, once you draw, you can see that they are parallel lines. But they also told you use slopes to determine whether the lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Now, the slope of AB, so this is x1, y1, x2, y2. So you will find the slope by this way. Okay, so the slope of this line is going to be -4. Now, in another way also you can find, remember we were counting down and then going to the right, so you can do that way too. But because we have to stick to the concept of this lesson, we have to do this. Slopes of CD, so slope of CD. So here are the coordinates again, x1, y1, x2, y2. So y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1, you will get the slope as -4. Now, when the two slopes are equal, or the slopes of the two lines are same, that means the lines are parallel. See, the lines have the same slope, so they are parallel. Fine. So remember, when the lines have same slope means they are parallel. Fine. This is very important. You must be remembering this. In color. Okay, now moving on to the next one, line ST. So you have to be drawing two lines here, line ST and UV. These are the coordinates. S is -2, 2, T is 5 and -1, U is 3 and 4, and V is -1 and -4. So first draw the line. So using S, -2 and 2, so -2 and 2, and 5 and -1, join the line. And then for line UV, you have 3, 4 and -1 and -4. So you will have this too. Now, as you can see, remember what are perpendicular lines? They meet each other and they make 90-degree angles. They look like a plus sign or a cross. A cross in the sense like a correct cross. It looks like a plus sign. They make right angles. Okay, now once the lines are like this, see, you can see the right angles here. These are called perpendicular lines. So slope of ST, take the coordinates, find the slope. Okay, so once you find the slopes, they are -3, 7 and 2. Now, if you look at the picture, you might feel that they are like perpendicular lines. You might feel, because it's not as accurate as we calculate. Okay, so if you see, you may think, okay, we can make 90-degree angles here, but see the slopes, they are not reciprocals, because if the lines are perpendicular, the slopes will be reciprocals. For example, if it was -3/7, the slope of the other line has to be 7/3, which is not a, I mean, that is a reciprocal, but here the slope of the line is completely different. It's 2. The slopes are not the same, so the lines are not parallel. The product of the slopes is also not -1, so the lines are not perpendicular. So what did they say by this? The product of the slope is also not -1. This means that when you multiply -3/7 by its reciprocal means 7/3, the answer you're going to get is -1. Okay, so if you get the answer as -1, then they are perpendicular, else they are not parallel because the slopes are not same. They are neither perpendicular because the slopes product does not give us -1. Okay, now this is the same concept here. Okay, they have given you the coordinates and they have drawn the graph. So what we are going to do is find the slope first. So here if you see the slope of FG is 1. Okay, and the slope of HJ is -1. So the reciprocal of 1 is -1. The sign changes, as well as if it's not a fraction, the number remains the same, but the sign does change. But if it's a fraction, the number will topple the other side. It will come the opposite side, and also the sign changes too. So the product of the slopes is 1. See, 1 multiplied by wait, I didn't complete this. The product of the slopes is 1 multiplied by -1. So if you multiply the slopes, your answer should be -1. Okay, so the lines are perpendicular. So if you multiply the slopes and you get an answer of -1, that means your answer, they are perpendicular lines. Else they are not perpendicular, they are not parallel. Okay, so just to make it more easy for you, let's only solve this question and then we'll move on to the lesson questions. Okay, so as usual, I have to have, again, you have to go and get your graph books back to solve all this. Okay, so the coordinates given are 3, 1 for W and 3, -2 for X, and then Y is -2 and 3, and Z is 4 and 3. Now, what are the names of the lines? W and X are going to be together, and Y and Z are going to be together. So let me open up the graph page for you. Okay, make it a bit bigger. Okay, so let me draw W first. So that's 3 and 1. That's the point here. Okay, and then X was 3 and -2. So 3 and 1, 3 and -2. So these two are going to be the lines, I mean points for the lines. So let's join them. But when you're joining them, do make sure that you draw arrows. Okay, let's extend this line. Okay, so name this line as line W and X. This was W right here. I don't want this much big handwriting. So that's going to be line W, and this is going to be point X. You girls do draw the arrows because the arrow is what denotes the lines. Okay, so W and X. So this is going to be arrows. I just hope you girls are following my instructions, because it's not. What's wrong? Fine. So let me draw the arrows for you. Okay, it doesn't want to move. Okay, cool. So I don't know, something had gone wrong, so I have to draw it all over again. So this is how your line X and Y will look like. So W and X. I even wrote that thing wrong. Believe me, teaching online is, I mean, teaching even on the screen is not easy. Okay. So this is going to be your W. That's going to be W, and this is going to be X. You can understand what I'm saying, okay? But you need to just do it, because I don't want to go all over and do it again. So line Y is, the coordinate for Y is going to be -2 and 3. Okay, so -2 and 3 is here. This is -2 and 3. And Z is 4 and 3. So 4 and 3. 4 and 3. Okay, so all what you're going to do is you are going to join them, make them, draw them straight, and then give the 2 arrows on either side. So this is going to be your line for Y and Z. Now as soon as you see, as you see, you can say that they are perpendicular, but they don't want you to tell that. They want you to draw and then graph it. I mean, say again what kind of lines they are. Okay, so using the coordinates, and now I'm doing it here. So using the coordinates, let's find out what are the slopes gonna tell us. So here I'm finding the slope of Wx. Okay, so it's going to be -2, -1. So -2 -1 over, and x2 is 3 minus 3. So 3 minus 3. So -2, -1 is going to give me a -3. So that equals -3. And 3 minus 0 is 3 minus 3 is going to give me a 0. So -3 divided by 0 is going to give me -3 as well. Okay, so the slope for this is going to be -3. Now let's find out the slope for yz. Okay, so that's going to be 3 minus 3 again. So 3 minus 3 over 4 minus 2. So 4 minus 2. So that's going to give me minus into minus will become plus. So 3 minus 3 is 0. Okay, minus into minus will give me plus. So 4 plus 2 is going to give me 6. So the slope for this is going to be 0 over 6. Fine. Now, how are we going to use this to determine whether the by using the slopes, how are we going to say what kind of slopes are what kind of lines are these going to be? Let's see. Now, what is the rule? In fact, the rule is that the product of both of these should be a -1, right? So multiply -3, okay, because -3 divided by 0 is going to be -3, and okay, so I don't know, today something is wrong with my laptop. I guess I had completely explained that part and then it went off. Now, I don't want to be going on repeating this question again. As you saw from the graph itself that they are perpendicular lines, okay, and you can go on and check whether they are perpendicular lines or not. Okay, so you know the product of the slope should be -1. So if you get a -1, that means they are perpendicular lines. So like this. Fine. So I just want to start doing the questions. That's why I'm not explaining this part again. Once we start doing the question, then the part is going to be more clear. Okay, now I'm doing page 186, question number 15. Okay, now when you what are the coordinates for question number 15? Again, it's the same graph. Each pair use slopes to determine whether the lines are parallel or whatever it is, or parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Okay, so let's do question number 15. So this coordinates are given as A is 2 and -1, and B is 7 and 2, and C is 2 and -3, and D is -3 and -6. Okay, so the line is AB, so these two coordinates are together, and CD, these two coordinates are together. But before I graph, let me show you how to find the slopes. So here we are finding the first slope of AB. Okay, so let's find the slope of AB. So that's y2, which is 2, y2 minus y1, which is -1, over x2 is going to be 7 minus 2. Okay, so minus into minus will give you plus. So 2 plus 1 is going to give you 3, and 7 minus 2 is going to give you a 5. So the slope for A and B is going to be 3 over 5. So let's find out for the slope of C and D. So this is slope of CD, which is going to be equal to y2 is -6 minus -3. So there are many minuses in this question. Fine. So the next one is going to be -3 minus 2. Okay. So again here, minus minus will give you plus. So -6 plus 3 is going to give you a -3. Right? -6 plus 3 is going to give you a -3. -3 minus 2 is going to give you -5 again, right? Now the slope of CD is negative, 3, negative will get cancelled again. So again the slope is going to be -3/5. Did I do it right? It is -6. So -6 minus -3. -6 plus 3 is going to give me a -3. Correct? Yeah, fine. So now the slopes are going to be the same because the negative and negative will get cancelled. So once they get cancelled, the slope is going to be -3/5, 3/5. Now when the slopes are the same, what can you determine from the slopes? When the slopes are the same, they are going to be parallel lines. Now let's graph and check whether the answer which we got as parallel is correct or not. Okay, so fine. So let's graph it. A is going to be 2 and -1. So 2 and -1 here. Okay, and B is going to be 7 and 2. So 7, okay, here is 7 and 2 here. Okay, so you will join these 2 points. C is 2 and -3. So 2 and -3 is here. And then B is -3 and -6. -3 and -6. So let's join these points and check whether the answer which we got as parallel is correct or not. So this is one of the line, right? And this is line AB. Do name it, girls, because as I'm drawing here, it's not easy for me to do each and every part of the question, drawing. So this is going to be line CD. So this is line AB. If we extend this line, that's going to be it is a parallel line. So the answer which we got for this question was right. Fine. So one more question and then we will wrap up this video class, because I'm sure you girls know these things. We don't need to be doing again and again. Okay, so let's do question number 16. Fine. So x, y, and z, w. X is -2, 5. So first let's find the slope. So slope for x, I'm finding the slope for xy. Okay, xy equals, it's -2 and -5 over 6. X2 is 6 minus -2. Okay, -2. Where's the, okay, fine. So -2, -5 is going to give you a -7. So that will equal -7. And this will give you plus, minus will give you plus. So 6 plus 2 will give you an 8. So the slope for x and y is going to be -7 over 8. Okay, so let's find out the slope for z and w. W is going to be 0 minus 6, so 0 minus 6, and then 4 minus 3, 4 minus 3. Okay, 0 minus 6 is going to give you a -6, right? So -6. Minus will give you plus. So 4 plus 3 is going to give you 7. Now, these are the slopes. So slope of ZW is -6 over 7. If you look at the slopes, they are not the same, which means they are neither parallel, neither perpendicular. So to confirm, let's graph it and check whether the answer is correct. According to our slopes, both of them are neither parallel, no perpendicular, right? So let's graph this. I'm just writing down the points so that I don't have to come back here. So let's graph and check whether the answer which we got as neither is correct or not. Okay, so let me draw the graph for x and y. So that's -2 and 5. -2. The -2 and 5 is here. -2 and 5 is here. Okay, then 6 and 2. 6 and -2 is here. So these 2 points are going to be for one line, and -3 and 6, -3 and 6 is here. Okay, and 4 and 0. So 4 and 0 is here. without getting confused, you need to draw these lines. Let's draw them. So this was for -2, 5, and 6 and -2. So this is going to be the line for this. Okay. Let me extend it. Okay. The next points are going to be fine. The next points are going to be for -3, 6. So that's from here to 4 and 0. So these two are the lines you're going to be getting, 4 and 0, -3 and 6. So do they look perpendicular or parallel? Of course they're not parallel. Parallel lines, they don't come like this. So which the answer we got for the slope was right, as they are neither. They are not parallel, not perpendicular. So we have to write the answer as they are neither. Okay, so I hope this lesson is clear for you girls. I don't think I need to be go on solving more questions because it's all the similar questions. I hope you all will do the homework. So until I meet you tomorrow in the next lesson, keep doing the homework, take care of yourselves, and see you all in the next video. Meet you all, not see you all, meet you all in the next video.